professor in institutes like IITs, NITs, central universities, and some state university having facility for research. So in that case, you need PhD as well as postdoc experience. PhD is not enough. So how many postdocs are here? Okay. Okay. So and many times the post more than the postdoc, you need good publications. It is not about like spending few years after PhD as postdoc. That's not enough. So I will get into that. So so and if you want to do only research, like many people don't like teaching, but they are into the research, into the science, a deep science they want to do. So they have to choose a profession as scientist in institutes where there is very minimal teaching. So the mostly like 95-100% of your time goes for research, like ILS or DBT Institute, CSIR Institute. So where the teaching is very minimal, so that you focus mostly on the research. And there also the qualification is PhD and postdoc. Only PhD is not sufficient. And these are the institutes like CSIR institutes, ICMR institutes, DBT, ICR, DST. So each institute are kind of autonomous institutes, some like ICMR or CSIR as centralized recruitment, but you can find their recruitment in their website. So you have to find where you want to go and look at their website individually and regularly to find the positions they are advertising. And as I said, like if you are a PhD and a postdoc, so you have to assess yourself. Are you ready for the job market? Okay. So the for assistant professor in IITs, NITs, or from ICERs or scientist position, what you need is the basic like untold criteria kind of is like high impact publications, and also if possible corresponding author publications. So that help you to get into the shortlisting criteria at least. So after shortlisting, then whatever the committee decides based on your research plan and the interview. And the research plan for the institute, many times institutes advertise specific areas. They need people in specific areas. So your research plan has to be relevant to the institute. You have to develop your research plan accordingly. And also like if you are going for IITs or ICERs, if you have teaching experience, so that helps, because those institutes the major focus is on education. And uh, the important thing is you have to have good recommendation letters. Instead of letters, good connections basically, who can support your application. So that happens when you build your network. So and thanks to India Bioscience for organizing this kind of meeting where you can actually increase your network by talking to people and discussing your future plans. So, and to get into India, suppose you are outside India and you are looking for assistant professor or scientist positions. So there are re-entry fellowships, government schemes like Ramanujan Fellowship from SAR, Ramalinga Swami from DBT. So that allows people from outside as well as people who have already came to India within 1 year. And Welcome DBT, they have fellowships for people both abroad as well as people in India. And these fellowships help you in securing a position. Like if you take the example of ILS, there are more than 6 faculties who have come through these re-entry fellowships and eventually become faculties. So it's not always easy to get into a faculty position directly, like applying from abroad or from a postdoc position. But these positions are kind of faculty positions, but not permanent faculty. But they can get you into the permanent faculty position if you come through this route. And there are also DST inspired faculty schemes available, which I have not listed here. So, but the big question is, we all MSCs want to do PhDs, right? So, how many PhDs stay in academia at the end? Can anyone, any percentage? How many? Less than 10%. Oh, that's too low. Okay. Yeah. So kind of 40% stay in academia. Okay. But less than 10% is correct. Less than 10% for people who are going to a faculty position. Okay. But 40% stay, and most of them stay as postdocs and mostly abroad, and go to staff scientist positions or those kind of things. And many of them, as you can see, they move to non-academia. So as you already said, less than 10%. How many PhDs actually become scientist or professor? That is always less than 10%. So, okay, don't worry about that. So you will get into your dream job somewhere. Okay. So if you are not interested in doing research, but you have PhDs and you want to be called as a scientist, but you don't want to do research and teaching, then you can go something like admin kind of job. Like all these agencies have scientists, they are called scientist B, C, D, all kind ranks, but they manage the policies and the grants. So that is also another option for PhDs if you want to get into the government. Basically, this is basically the government side. And how much time I'm left with? Okay. So yeah, so the last section is industry. So if you are MSc, so think, are you ready for the industry actually? MSc or PhD? PhDs are mostly ready for the industry. But if we talk about MSc, I don't think our teaching system or MScs produced by our state or any kind of regular colleges are really ready for the industry, because they just go through theory and see people doing the practical. And then in the CV, most of the time when we see the MSc CV, they write expertise, 5, 10 things, but they have seen those. Okay, so those are not actually your expertise. Those are the things you have seen in the practical class. Okay, so what industry need is advanced instrumentation things like cell culture, fermentation technology, RT-qPCR, mass spec, X-ray crystallography, or flow cytometry, transmission electron microscope. All these kind of technologies, and if you are expert in any of these or few of these, then you can find a decent job in the industry, because industry needs technology. Industry doesn't need your theory knowledge, and theory knowledge is good for PhDs, because you need to clear the CSR net gate and BET exams, but you need practical hands-on training to get into industry. If you are really interested in industry jobs, you can go for internship after the MSc, few months of internship in there are many institutes who provide these kind of things, so that you are industry ready. And the other thing, like I asked in the beginning, like you want to get money as well as you want to be happy, then what is the option? So I think the option is the industry, and you need to be an entrepreneur so that you can do what you want to do, and you are your own boss, so that you are happy. And money, of course, not always possible, but if you succeed, you will get a lot of money. And to start this entrepreneurship journey, you have to ask many questions to yourself. Are you ready for that? Taking the startup journey. So these are the questions. Like, I don't want to read them. You can take a picture. And these are the questions like, do you have any business idea? Are you good at presenting your idea? Are you good at kind of convincing other people? And or are you afraid of failure? Or whether your family will be supporting you for a few months if you are out of job or without any salary. So if you answer all these questions, they have plus minus ranking, and if you score more than 16, so you are basically ready to start it. Otherwise, don't think about it. Think for a regular job. And there are many agencies now come up by Startup India, Startup Odisha, BIRAC. They are supporting uh, the innovations and people with brilliant ideas to make new industry. And thank you all. And the industry part will be covered separately by other speakers. And wish you all the success. And thank you.
Thank you, Amresh, very much. And this was really very informative and covered a lot of aspects. Are there any quick questions? Amresh, what time is your flight? Okay, so you are here for lunch also, and anybody who is interested to talk to Amresh, he will be available for tea and lunch. And if there are any quick questions, we can take one or two questions. So if there are no questions, and if you want to ask
Can you
him
just, I can
personally,
just add one sentence
yeah.
before you introduce them. So, just for all the speakers and participants, this has been our distribution of the participants. So, they are from different places, and it's divided like 20% of our total registration number, which was close to 65, are master level students, and 40 and 40 each are young faculties and postdocs. So just to give you an idea, and also to the participants, like this is what you will be coming across. And all our speakers are scientists, but we do not have a scientific presentation per se. So take the benefit of both the worlds. They are all pursuing research, they are all pursuing science, but they will be talking to you on different aspects. So apart from expecting that it will be a completely a scientific discussion, you can actually interact on both the levels, listen to them on what they have to say on the topics that I've already listed, and then if you want to interact with them on the science as well, you are free to do. So this was just a small